From fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, this is Pod Therapy. Real people, real problems, real therapists. If you have any questions you'd like to ask or advice you'd like to give, come on over to podtherapy.net and join the conversation. If you're like me and you're tired of freeloading 4-year-olds, this episode is for you.
Finally.
Yes. And now, broadcasting from Level 9 Studios, that guy's Dr. Jim Jobin. I'm Nick Tangeman. It's time for some Pod Therapy.
So in a second, we'll explain what that teaser is. But, Nick, I've been calling you all day, you know? And it's like you just ignore me. It's going straight to voicemail. You're not answering the text messages. Just what's going on here? So Nick
You know
apparently...
damn well what's going on.
Yeah, I get an email from Nick this morning, and he's like, my phone's in a bag of rice. And it made me immediately laugh because I'm like, okay, first off, that's like a rumor. Like that is like an internet meme that you can put your phone in a bag of rice and fix it. What did you do?
I dropped it in a pool, in a swimming pool, at a birthday party that I was at last night.
So that, okay, and when you first walked in, I was like, that's dumb. Like, how, like, not only how the hell does that happen, but how the hell do you own a phone that's not waterproof? Like, you have to go back, like, 4 generations of phones to not have one that's waterproof anymore.
It's waterproof.
But it's in a bag of rice. Like, it broke.
Yeah.
So how the hell did this happen?
I put it in the water to prove that it was waterproof.
So you're like, hey, my phone's waterproof. Like, watch this.
Yeah.
Plunk.
So I was in the pool with a group of people, and somebody brought my phone over to me and said, hey, you just missed a phone call. And it was my girlfriend, Laura, was calling me.
Uh-huh.
So I grabbed the phone.
She's like, you better not be at another one of those pool parties.
I'm still in the pool, and a couple of people are like, oh my God, what are you doing? You know, you're going to drop your phone. And I was just kind of like, yeah, I'd be ashamed if I dropped it, and I dropped it in the pool.
Because you're thinking, ha ha ha, it's waterproof.
And it is. I got it out, and I still used it. Like, I still made a phone call.
Okay.
Right? But I only had 5% battery left.
Uh-huh.
So after that, then I set the phone down, whatever. I get in my car to leave a little bit later, and I go to plug it in.
And it was still wet.
Well, it felt dry, but my phone tells me, it says there's moisture accumulating or there's moisture inside the phone.
Uh-huh.
So you do not charge at this time. And it was just beeping at me, like, get the charger out.
Okay.
So I unplugged it. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess I can't charge my phone. I have to just let it die.
Yeah.
So, because I was only at 1% at that point.
Right.
So then I got home. It was about 45 minutes later. So then I decided to plug it back in, and it was still doing it. So I was like, okay, fine. So I let it sit out all night, and it's dead. So then this morning I tried to plug it in again, and it's still doing that.
Oh, weird. That's why the rice. So you're just trying.
So now,
it seems to be alive, but it's also like aware that it doesn't want to be charged.
It does not want to be charged.
So you're trying to dry it out.
If it was fully charged, I could use it right now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's okay. So well, I'm going to tip my cap to you because I really was just going to rip you apart and just make a lot of fun of you. But no, that's a reasonable story. And your point was proven. You were not embarrassed at your pool party.
No.
I don't know what kind of adults have birthday pool parties, but whatever. And so you're at this kid's pool party. It's Vegas. And, you were not embarrassed in front of them because the phone totally worked. So the point you were trying to make at the party, you made that point.
Yes. So for the people who were there, I proved my point.
Yeah. They thought, wow, Nick's cool. Nick has cool phone.
Unless they ever listen to this podcast.
Now they're like, yeah, fate caught up to that smug SOB.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Fate catches us all, but welcome back to Pod Therapy. Nick does not have a phone. It was funny because right before the show, I'm like, hey, mute your phone. He's like, just flip me off. So I don't have to worry about that happening today.
It feels like 1998.
Yeah. Not having a phone somewhere that you are.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's so
Isn't
strange.
that weird?
Yeah.
Yeah, like if I call somebody and I can't get a hold of them, I know it's personal. I don't think, well, maybe they're filling up their car with gas, or maybe they are not somewhere where there is a landline. The world has changed. But something that has not changed, Nick, is the fact that humans do not like it when a freeloader takes advantage of them. So there was new research that was done at Yale University, and in this research, they tried to figure out at what age do we kind of develop that distaste, right? So it's pretty common knowledge. Whenever you're in school and you have a group project and it's that kid that didn't do anything but he still gets an A with you, and you kind of have a resentment of that, right? And in workplaces, that could be the same thing where you have like this, huge project or this community goal where we all have to participate in making sure that this thing gets done. And then there's somebody who just kind of kicks up their feet, doesn't contribute very much. And whether they take credit or not, if they get credit, it can bother you. Nobody likes that. And even macroscopically in politics, in society, it's a constant political debate about, what does it look like when there's people that don't necessarily participate in the wealth of the nation, sharing in the wealth of the nation, right? Which, again, we're not a political show, but that's an interesting debate. So at Yale, they wanted to zoom backward and say, okay, is this something we pick up because we're socialized into it? Is this something that we develop because this is like an American value and it's something that we pick up in school and we read in our textbooks and we hear about on TV, and then we eventually develop that mindset? So they ran this experiment with 4-year-olds, which is just about as far back as you can go and have them still be verbal. Like my daughter's 3 and she can talk, but not like reliably to the point where she could explain something. But 4 years old is right there. Like you can do something with them, you can ask them how they feel, and you can watch their behavior. So this is the experiment that they did with 4-year-olds at Yale University, which also, you don't realize how many 4-year-olds there are at Yale University. Yeah, it's a very competitive process.
Yeah, they get them. They pick them younger and younger
doing
every
the
year.
SAT at 2. God, it's really hard. The entrance essay is written in crayon. It's just stickers. All right, so they ran this experiment. Here's what they did. They took a group of 4-year-olds, put them all at a table, and basically gave them an amount of chocolates. So think like Hershey's Kisses, right? Which the kids really like. Right. And they tell them, hey, here's the deal. If you guys give me, let's say, 10 chocolates total, then I will get you a cake. I will bring cake to this table, and everybody gets to have cake. And the kid's like, oh, I love cake. And it doesn't take a genius 4-year-old to realize cake more valuable than Hershey Kiss, right? Like, I want cake. And so they get pumped for the cake. So when the kids are invited to spend their candies to earn this cake, the challenge is nobody has to.
Right.
Like, if the cake is unlocked, everybody gets the cake. But you can just kind of sit back and let other kids give all their chocolate, and you can keep yours if you want. Like, it's not a big deal. So each kid thinks about what they want to do, and they donate their chocolates to unlock the cake. And these are 4-year-olds, right? What the experiment revealed was that even at 4 years old, if the kids figured out that one of the other kids was freeloading, like they kept their chocolates and they still got cake, they were pissed. Like, that's really funny at 4 years old. Yeah. In fact, the study revealed that not only were the kids pissed if somebody freeloaded their way into the cake, if they did a second experiment where they gave the kids stickers. And Nick, I know you don't have any children, but in a child economy, a 4-year-old economy, sticker equals Benjamin Franklin $100 bill. Like, that is, my kids would hand me a sack of money for stickers. Like, they don't care. Like, they want that damn thing.
I see a business opportunity here.
Yeah, right. We'd be scamming a lot of 4-year-olds. You don't need your daddy's money. Give me that. Here's a sticker, SpongeBob. So they gave the kids stickers, and at the end of the experiment, when the cake is served, they invite the kids, if they want to spend their stickers to punish other kids. And so you can spend your stickers to prevent another kid from getting their cake. And kids did it. 4 years old, they willingly gave up the sticker for no benefit. They don't get more cake. They don't get their chocolate back. They get no personal benefit. The only thing they get is the satisfaction of stopping a freeloader from getting access to the cake. They part with something. They lose something in their personal economy for nothing more than to have what they sense as justice. And that's what that Yale experiment revealed, was not only are kids pissed when another kid freeloads their way to the cake circle, but they're willing to part with their own economy to make it right, to stop you from getting away with that. At 4 years old. That's incredible.
Because they had done similar studies at older age groups, 9 and 10 years old.
Yes.
And they expected that when we do this for the 4-year-old, we're going to see less of an impact.
Right.
And they actually found the opposite.
Yeah.
That correlation was a lot stronger.
It was.
This desire to get even at
That's
a freeload.
right. So before this experiment, the earliest age it had ever gone to was like 9 and 10 years old. And they saw the same thing, but it wasn't as strong because kids will think about it and go, well, I like my stickers or whatever. Like, I don't want to lose those to punish Johnny. I don't really care that much. At 4 years old, though, they go to war. Like, right. They're not having it. Like, I'll lose my last sticker before you put a fork of cake in your mouth. Like, I'm not going to allow it. But what was really interesting was they ran this study a bunch of different times, a bunch of different 4-year-olds. And they started introducing these variables, like what happens if the puppet monster comes in and he takes away some of Johnny's chocolates? And so Johnny doesn't have as many chocolates to contribute to the goal of unlocking cake. Do you still punish Johnny since he didn't carry his weight? And the answer was no. The 4-year-olds were very generous at that point. If the puppet monster came in, or if something happened that caused you to have less chocolate, or if you started with less chocolate and so you couldn't contribute as much, as long as you contributed something meaningful, the 4-year-olds were cool with it. They would not spend stickers to stop you. Enjoy your cake. Let's all celebrate, which is fascinating. Like, that is like deep, interesting psychology.
That was the most fascinating part to me, was seeing that someone so young will take into account circumstances.
Yeah. And they'll think it through.
Right.
4 years old. And they're like, well, Johnny didn't have that many chocolates and he gave half of them. So we've given the same thing. At 4 years old, what you're essentially describing at that is a graduated tax policy. Right. Like, that's essentially a graduated tax policy that, well, I make less, so I am taxed at a lesser rate, and somebody who makes more is taxed at a higher rate. Like, that's all that is. And it's so funny because we all get to drive on the same roads. Right? We all get to have the same police department and fire department, and ultimately I'm happy to contribute to that. So it's fascinating because it reveals not only that from a very young age, humans are not necessarily socialized into this concept. We may sort of have it woven into our psychology. And it's interesting because the study, tips its cap and says, listen, we're very aware in psychology that humans seem inherently social. All humans everywhere on the planet, no matter their race, no matter the period of time, tend to coordinate. They do not tend to lone wolf, and you do not tend to find humans just living one-off out in the jungle, just on their own in a cave. That is an outlier. Mm-hmm. And all of human history, all the fossil records, everything we've ever found, we find humans collaborating. They tend to work in groups to realize greater gains, right? Because one human can't take down a mammoth, but 30 of them can. And they eat better if they can work as a team, right? And they have common defense. So this is already part of the human success story, is that we tend to collaborate, we tend to coordinate. What this study dug into was, when we do that, the rules that we come up with for how you pull your weight and how you contribute, is that something we've handed down generation after generation? Or is that something that comes naturally from inside of us?
Right.
At 4 years old, the argument is starting to become pretty clear. It's pretty natural.
Yeah.
And that really, I think it's validating Nick as an adult. Because, I've been in group projects, where I'm pissed.
Oh, yeah.
And it's and people are like, just let it go, Jim. And it's like, no, it's the principle of the thing. And it's like, it turns out it is. It's the instinct principle of the thing.
And it's funny, too, to watch. I don't know if it was like this for you, but for me, I noticed there was a shift, when group projects were introduced in 5th and 6th grade into kind of junior high. And then how it changed when you get into high school, especially college. How, when you're younger, we get to work in a group. Oh, that's fun because I get to, work with my friends and all that. But then by the time you're in high school and you are told that there's a group project, it's just, everybody's so upset, except for the freeloader.
That guy's great.
If you have somebody who's in your group that's happy to be in the group, that's the one who's not going to be working. That's the guy.
Don't trust him. It's funny because I think back to high school, late high school and college. And I had my niche in the human ecosystem figured out by that point. So I was a friendly guy. I liked everybody, right? I got along with everybody. And whenever we had a group project or something like that, I would go find the nerds because they tend to clump up, and they're all in this little crew, and you get a 4-person group, and 3 of them will find each other in that class. And I'll come strolling over and I'll go, hey, we have to present our findings. I'm your man. I'll do that part. You guys get us there. And it was a great marriage of convenience. It was like, oh, thank God Jim's here. You know, like, good. You get up there and showboat and, like, sell this crap. We'll make sure that all the math adds up. And I'm like, we have an accord. Like, we are good. I know my role. You know your role. My work doesn't start until yours finishes. But once it's showtime, you guys can chill, and I'll take it from there. That was our agreement.
I can totally see that.
Yeah. That's pretty much always been my work relationship.